Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
This is A Different Perspective with Kevin Randle. A retired U.S. Lieutenant Colonel, Kevin Randle has been studying UFOs for nearly 50 years. Kevin has investigated some of the most famous UFO cases in the world and has been consulted for dozens of documentaries about UFOs. Considered one of the leading experts into the Roswell UFO crash of 1947, Kevin has written more than 25 books about UFOs, including the recently published Roswell in the 21st Century. Now, here is the host of A Different Perspective, Kevin Randle.
Sometimes I'm just wanting to listen to the music as opposed to getting the show started. Yes, this is A Different Perspective, and I am, in fact, Kevin Randle. Before I introduce the guest, Dan Fascas, I would have a couple of things to say. First of all, my predictions for Game of Thrones were almost totally wrong. No spoilers here, but I did get one of them right, but everybody else got that one right too. So we'll just forget that whole thing. Pretend I never said anything about it in the last couple of shows. I just found, and my notes are going to be a little bit scattered here. I just found that the Navy is drafting guidelines for UFO sighting reportings, and I think this is something that came out a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago maybe. But what's important here is Christopher Sherwood, who is a Department of Defense spokesman, said that they still investigate claimed sightings of alien spacecraft, which is interesting. He went on to say the Department of Defense is always concerned about the maintaining positive identification of all aircraft in our operating environment, as well as identifying any foreign capability that may be a threat to the homeland. In other words, they're saying what I've maintained all along, that no matter what the Air Force was saying about we don't investigate UFOs anymore and that kind of nonsense, that is a requirement of the American military, which is to protect the airspace over the country. And I think that they're now admitting that they still do that sort of thing as if we didn't know it. And it may be one of the first steps toward full disclosure, which people have been advocating for years and years and years, and it never seemed like we were going to get any closer. Also, I wanted to mention again the International UFO Reporting Research Center, the UFORRC, which you can find at www.iuforrc.com. And there's a form if you have a sighting you want to report, and there's be other information up there as well. So take a look at that when you get a chance in the near future. Not now, because I'm on the air here with you. My guest today is Dan Fascas. He was born in 1940 in Reşiţa, Romania, and holds a Master of Science in Mathematics and Physics and a Ph.D. in Mathematics and Computers. Since 1968, he was a project manager for several countrywide information systems, mainly in health science management. He was elected in 1993 a full member of the Academy of Medical Sciences of Romania. Since 2011, he has been the president of the Association for the Study of Unidentified Aerospace Phenomenon, ASFAN, in Romania. They do have a page up, which is ASANUFO.ro, and there is an English translation for it if you want to take a look at it. He has published in Romania over 25 books, mostly on IT, philosophy of science, extraterrestrials and UFOs, and more than 1,200 articles. And he has participated in numerous radio and TV debates, and he is now joining us here on A Different Perspective. Welcome to the program, Dr. Fascas.
Hello. Glad to be with you.
And I'm delighted that you speak English because I do not speak Romanian at all.
Yes, I should excuse myself. I speak a slow English and a basic English, not the good English you speak.
Well, yes, but I grew up in the United States, so I have a much better feeling for the English language than you do. And anybody who can communicate intelligently in a foreign language is always very impressive to me, at least.
Yes, it was quite a challenge to write 2 books in English directly, not translated from Romanian. But I had some helps, even with computer translation.
Well, let me break in here. One of the books probably was Hyper Civilizations, an answer to ET contacts on Earth. Is that one of the books you wrote in English?
Yes, it was written directly in English.
Okay. And Philip Mantle and his Flying Disc Publishers is the agency responsible for publishing it.
Yes. I was in contact with Philip Mantle, and actually he asked me, because we were in contact for another book before, and he asked me to write this book about hypercivilization. So it was somehow his initiative, but it was a good idea because it is not a usual book. It is a synthesis book.
Well, let me break in and mention, when I first saw the title Hyper Civilizations, I thought maybe that you were referring to some kind of civilization that had developed on Earth and had remained hidden from us. But yes. I guess by reading through the book, it's about civilizations on other worlds, other planets.
Yes, initially I wanted to have another title, more precise, but it's a very good one. Hypercivilizations means something above us, near Earth, but not earthly civilization. Something very old, and of course, kind of extraterrestrial civilization, but very, very different from what everybody imagine about extraterrestrials.
So you're suggesting these hyper civilizations developed on other planets have had no contact with Earth. They developed independently and now are able to, I guess, defeat the physics problems of traveling interstellar space and visit the Earth.
The basic idea is that when we speak about extraterrestrials, we imagine always something, maybe 1,000 year difference or 10,000 year difference. But I made calculations as I learned some astronomy in the faculty and after. I have a very good image of universe. And the universe is not huge only in space, it is huge also in time. So, and the civilizations, the possible civilizations in the universe are very rare. So the differences between the stage of evolution of some civilizations in the universe are not thousands of years, are hundreds of millions of years. So it's a so huge difference we cannot really understand. And I told in that book, it's a the book is about a hypothesis. It's not something absolute truth. And
you're suggesting there's a great deal of speculation in the book.
Yes, I made a great deal of speculations, but also I can explain a lot of things which cannot be explained by the classical, let's say, the primitive extraterrestrial hypothesis. So there are, in fact, this is one idea, two very different hypotheses about extraterrestrials. One is the SETI or science fiction or so on hypothesis, which imagine that the extraterrestrials will land in the front of White House and so. And the other is that they are so different that even they cannot discuss with us. They cannot do through contact from like peers. So this is the difference.
So you're suggesting that the hyper civilizations are so far advanced and their intelligence is so far beyond ours that we would not be able to communicate them in the same way that we cannot communicate with.
Exactly.
Excuse me, I have to interrupt here because I'm going to have to take a break to plug in a few commercial messages because, frankly, we have to do that. I can't help it. So there you go. I will have up on my blog more information about the discussion with the Navy and what it is said about their investigation of UFOs, and that's at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com. And the book we're talking about is called Hyper-Civilizations: An Answer to ET Contacts on Earth with Dr. Dan Fascas. We will be back right after these messages, so stick around for a few minutes and see what we might learn.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
I am here with Dan Farkas, who's the author of Hypercivilizations, an answer to ET contacts on Earth. We were talking about the hypercivilizations being so far advanced, the beings from those civilizations be so far advanced that they would be unable to communicate with us, even though we're both sort of sentient beings and that sort of thing. So you're suggesting, do you see, beings that are corporeal, that have bodies like ours, or do you see something that might be an electronic cloud or something of an artificial intelligence?
I'm convinced. First of all, the difference of hundreds of million years is exactly like between us and some ants or very primitive life forms. I suppose if they were maybe 1 billion years ago at the same level we are now, they evolved biologically, but also they take some different forms. Maybe they moved in another realm, other dimensions. Maybe they changed their biological body to, let's say, spiritual one. Maybe they use techniques like virtual reality or something like Matrix or something like this to live forever. Maybe they can master space and time. So our time will be negligible for them, so they can follow our evolution like an experiment and so on.
You're suggesting we're kind of a laboratory for them then?
Yes, they, and also.
But if they're doing that, doesn't that mean that they recognize that we have a certain level of intelligence and a certain level of civilization?
Yes. For example, it's also a speculation, but if such a hyper civilization existed hundreds of million years ago, they traveled everywhere. They discovered then Earth is maybe a unique place in our galaxy. I want to emphasize, in our visible universe there are at least several hundreds of billions of galaxies like ours. But in our galaxy, it is not impossible. We are the only place, we in the Earth is the only place for evolved biological society as we have around us.
Well, that kind of bothers me, and here's why. We talk in ufology and in science fiction about just remaining inside our galaxy. The distances between the stars, at least on the outer rim of the galaxy where we are, we're talking about light years away. You get to the center of the galaxy, the stars are much closer together. But our galaxy is 110,000 light years across, 30,000 light years deep. And it seems that just travel inside the galaxy would, well, to our way of thinking, is impossible. We may be able to defeat it.
The distances between galaxies are millions or billions of years.
Yes, I was about to say the Andromeda galaxy is 2.5 million light years away.
Yes.
So I just don't understand how we can bridge those kind of distances.
I suppose, let's say Hal Puthoff had some statements recently. They want to re-engineer somehow the void, to change the speed of light. It's only a very early beginning, but I am confident in thousands of years, maybe in 1 million year of evolution, science will discover other methods to travel in space. Maybe not in material form, maybe in some other forms, maybe transforming us in information and transposing us very far away, and like in teleportation, for example. So I am confident that a hyper-civilization, if exists, and it exists with a high probability, it should master the huge distances without any problem. And to make intergalactic travels without any problem.
I don't buy it. No, I'm just saying the distance is just stunning.
Yes, for any material body, but there are a lot of things we don't know about what material is.
But maybe are you suggesting some sort of astral projection that may defeat the distances?
Yes. So there are some stories about encounters and so, with people saying, yes, we are in a spiritual form, and in our spiritual form we can travel much faster than light.
But you
only an example.
Yes.
It's only an example, and I gave much more detail in the book, of course, and also I explained how could it may done even with our physics about dark matter, about dark energy, and so, and using of course quantum physics, quantum mechanics.
You talk in the book about the alien abduction phenomenon, and I bring that up now simply because you're talking about some sort of a astral projection or some kind of a spiritual communication here, and yet the people who talk about having been abducted, talk about a physical reality, that they're on board a ship, they're interacting with some kind of beings. Are you suggesting that those interactions are more mind projections than they are physical confrontations?
So it's much more complicated for such a short discussion. But one idea is that the so-called extraterrestrials, which the abducted people meet, are not the people of hyper-civilizations. They are some intermediate beings. This is because, for example, of course, some abductions with sexual intercourse with some extraterrestrial beings, or different kind of genetic experiments, making hybrids and so. And this is not possible if this so-called extraterrestrials, only if they are also some human race or even a different species. And the idea I developed in my book is, and not only, because it's not it is also in some other books, they were developed in some reservations around the Earth. So if a hyper-civilization was here, they discovered that Earth is a unique place. They installed themselves around us, and they made 100 million years ago some experiments with...
Well, I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you here because I'm coming up against a hard break and I have to go away.
Yes.
I am talking with Dr. Dan Fascas, who is the author of Hyper-Civilizations, An Answer to ET Contact. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about how this alien abduction things work and the creation of the hybrids and that sort of thing. Once again, take a look at my blog at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com. And, of course, there are other fine programs about the paranormal on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the xzbn.net. Take a look at those, too. We'll be back right after this.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
I am here with Dr. Dan Fascas, who is the author of Hypercivilizations, an answer to ET contacts on Earth. When we went away, we were kind of talking about some of the troubles with, I think of them as troubles, I guess, with the abduction phenomenon, suggesting that if it's a hypercivilization and they're using some kind of astral projection to visit Earth, they wouldn't be able to interact the way that the abductees interact with the creatures they see. And Dan was suggesting that there may be some kind of an intermediary. And I guess the question that comes from that is, were these intermediaries created by the hypercivilizations to interact with us, or are they also civilizations that developed on their own independently but are just a little bit more advanced than us?
Yes. My idea was the following: to have a theoretical construction, and I think it's quite well developed, but it's difficult to compress now, and also to have some so-called magics of these hyper-civilizations, which can be magics we see around, and the explanation could be not the classical extraterrestrial hypothesis, but this spatial extraterrestrial hypothesis of hypercivilizations. So if we have hypercivilizations, they were here maybe 100, maybe many hundreds million years ago. They supervised all the evolution on Earth with intervening very like in an ecological space.
Would you be suggesting, for example, they pushed the asteroid to Earth to wipe out the dinosaurs to allow the expansion of the mammals?
It's possible. It's possible, but also it's possible they picked some evolved dinosaurs and they put them in another separate place, evolving in what we name this. I have problems sometimes with English words.
That's okay. Sometimes I have problems with English words too.
The dinosaur kind of, or blizzard kind of extraterrestrials. Some abducted people thought they met
Reptilians.
Reptilians, yes. And maybe the reptilians are a species specially made to be sometimes in contact with us, but mainly as an experiment somewhere outside Earth. This is one idea. Another idea that the other kind of, let's say, extraterrestrials, like the high Nordics or the little gray, they are also human races. If you have, for example, dogs, in 10,000 years, how many kinds of races could be made? So all biological species are very easy to modify. And
well, are you suggesting that these corporal beings, these real beings that are visiting the Earth, the abductors,
yes,
that are you suggesting that they all are derived from Earth-based life forms?
From Earth-based life forms, yes. And the hyper civilizations or the people, I don't know if I can use the word people, the power of the hyper civilizations is behind them, and we cannot say their face. This is a biblical comparison. That you cannot see my face. And also, I want to emphasize, this is a theoretical development, theoretical theory. But all theories need to have some facts. And in the book, I had 5 kinds of facts. The first kind is the UFOs. The UFOs, it's absolutely clear, is not normal, in quotation marks, a normal extraterrestrial civilization coming here maybe to invade us. It is something very different. It is a manifestation of a hyper civilization or of more hyper civilizations. And this is because this phenomenon is for thousands of years, is not from Roswell or only in the last decades. It's a very old phenomenon. And so this is the first.
But are you saying that the UFOs are again sort of mental manifestations and are not something that we could go up and physically kick or touch?
So they are physical and non-physical in the same time. It's another kind of physics than we can imagine. So it's if you speak about evolution in 1,000 years, I agree, it's difficult to understand. But I think about an evolution in 100 million years, or even 1 billion. Astronomy shows that there are in universe some stars exactly as the sun, with planets exactly as the Earth, but 1 billion years older. So it's quite enough place in the universe to have such kind of hyper-civilizations.
Well, I don't think anybody's arguing the point that there couldn't be hyper-civilizations, and there certainly wouldn't be civilizations more advanced than us on Earth, given the age of our galaxy, given the age of many of the stars in our galaxy. I don't think anybody's arguing that point. The real point would be, would life develop to an intelligent level on those planets?
Yes. In the book, it's well described. The life on Earth needed around 4 billion years, from the first more primitive forms until our technological civilization. So this 4 billion year could begin on another place 1 billion year before, and they were in the stage of hyper-civilization, or in our stage, in a stage of technological civilization 1 billion years ago. They most probably destroyed themselves, but as everybody talks about the self-destroying, but a small percentage of the civilizations clever enough and peaceful enough survive. And if survive, they can evolve millions, hundreds of millions, and maybe billions of years. And it's not my idea. There is a literature about. I used only this idea. So if they are so evolved, they normally have no problem to travel everywhere, to discover that Earth is a very special place, and to declare that it is a kind of, not zoo, but kind of big reservation.
Let me interrupt here. Let me interrupt here because I am coming up against a hard break, and I have to break away here.
Yes.
As I say always, there will be more information at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com. The book is Hyper-Civilizations, and the author is Dr. Dan Fascas. We will be back right after this with some more discussion about hyper-civilizations and what they may be able to accomplish is the word I was looking for. So please stick around.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
Christopher Fulton is a survivor of the national security state. All he wanted to do was preserve history when he acquired a Cartier watch from the estate of President Kennedy's personal secretary. But that simple act set off a terrible chain reaction. He was pursued by the U.S. Justice Department and the FBI, thrust into the middle of the U.S. government's Assassination Records Review Board, even monitored and pursued by the Russian government. All because that Cartier watch was the missing link of evidence, a timepiece worn by JFK that fateful day in Dallas, a link resulting in Christopher being incarcerated and attacked for 9 years because he opened a hidden chapter in history. The intriguing journey outlined fully in Christopher Fulton's memoir, The Inheritance, is available now through TrineDay.com or Amazon.com. The Inheritance, Poisoned Fruit of JFK's Assassination by Christopher and Michelle Fulton is a must-read, an incredible tale of how easily our own government can overrule justice. The Inheritance, Poisoned Fruit of JFK's Assassination.
I am here with Dr. Dan Farkas. He is the author of Hypercivilizations, an answer to ET contacts on Earth. We were kind of talking about the abduction phenomenon and the evolution of, I guess, intelligence on Earth and intelligence on other planets. I guess the question that immediately pops into my mind is, you seem to be suggesting that intelligent life on Earth in this particular galaxy is unique. There aren't other planets that have developed.
It's very, very rare, and there are some authors saying that maybe in 100 galaxies we are the only intelligence. So,
and you're speaking galaxies as opposed to solar systems.
Yes, okay. Galaxies. So there are some books. I quoted them but even there, if in our galaxy there are many civilizations, that many means tens or maybe 100, but no more, because the conditions on Earth are so special that it's very difficult to maintain them 4 billion years needed for the full development of technical civilization. So this was the basic idea. I want to emphasize that in the book I have 5 types of, let's say, facts or miracles or so, which cannot be explained with classical extraterrestrial hypothesis, but can be explained with the hypercivilizations. First, I told you, is UFOs. Second is abductions, why they abduct us and so on. The third is, now I should evoke Jacques Vallée. The third is the folkloric beings. So all the forests are full of beings and were for thousands of years, which come with still people which interact. I found such cases in Romania also. I have, for example, let's say the name is Maid of Forest. It's a character in Romanian forests. It's a fairy, and I have 2 witnesses seeing descending from a UFO, this fairy. So the things are very, very well connected. And in folklore, we have many other stories. The fourth argument is religion. All religious figures of all religion are descending from heaven. and going back with lights and so on. Fifth is a more complex one, connection with many other paranormal things. And also, I have, in the last part of the book, I discuss some questions. So, accepting we have a hyper-civilization which is manifesting itself as UFOs, as fairies, as religion, and so on, what are their aim, what they want, and how they expect we behave. This is an interesting part, and I developed on the basis of many alleged contacts. I developed two conditions. First of all, the love of the spirit of humans, the love of other humans, to be the most important thing for everybody. This is the first. And the second, to give up the claim of possessing ultimate truth, for example, religious ones. And also, it's not only my idea. I had my small investigations with abducted people, also in Romania, why not? They told me they had a message.
Well, let me interrupt here, because you bring up a point that I want to get to, and I don't have much time.
Yes.
Do you accept all the abductees who claim to be abducted as telling a truth, a literal truth?
No. I have a special chapter also about how much we can accept from what the abducted people say. So, but if too many people say the same thing, this is a warning. And
but isn't it possible that they're the people are doing the research, and I'm thinking of John Mack and
yes,
and his pals. They're all in contact with one another. They're all sharing the same information. They're all looking for the same information.
Yes,
Isn't it possible they're implanting that information in the people so we get that continuity?
Yes, I have also very primitive people. They didn't read anything, because in Romanian we have not translated John Mack or so, and
no. My point is the researchers all have read that information and all are cognizant of that information, and they're the ones that are kind of leading the discussion of your primitive people to the point they want to get.
No, it. For example, it was a worker in a plant told me that he had a contact, and some high people told him that the let's say extraterrestrials will not interfere with us. They wait to destroy each other if we want. They respect our free will to destroy the earth if we cannot solve our problems otherwise. But
that's a message. That's a message that has come from the contactees, who have been pretty well debunked from the 1950s.
Yes and not, because everywhere, if many people have the same idea, it is a suspicion maybe there is something behind. Also, it's very shortly, I have many cases of apocalyptic messages. Images with the destroyed Earth. Also, many messages, ecological ones. Please preserve the health of ecosystem. And many others which give you the idea is someone behind them telling the people this. And many abducted people changed their mind after the abduction, becoming ecologists, and so. And
well, we're gonna have to break it off there because we're out of time. And Justice was getting really interesting too. So I appreciate you taking time to come on the program with me and discuss the ideas. Once again, the book is Hypercivilizations, an answer to ET contacts on Earth. I've been joined by Dr. Dan Fascas, who is a prominent member of the UFO community in Romania. Thank you, Dr. Fascas, for joining me here. I guess you're gone. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Bruce Maccabee, Dr. Bruce Maccabee, whom I'm sure many of you know, a physicist with the U.S. Navy who spent many, many years studying UFOs, is, I guess, one of the experts in analyzing photographs. Don't know why I couldn't think of the word analyzing photographs, and has some interesting tales to tell us about his experiences in his probably 50 years of UFO research, much like I do. I'll have more information up about this and some ideas where to go for additional information at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com. And I'm always remiss, I don't know why, but there are many fine programs that deal with the paranormal here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and you can take a look at those at xzbn.net and scroll down there, and you'll find something I'm sure that's going to interest you dealing with the paranormal. I would mention a couple of the names, but I don't want to get the others mad at me, so I'm not going to do that. Just take a look at them. As I say, next week I will be joined by Dr. Bruce Maccabee. We'll be talking about UFOs and his investigations into it. So I will be back in 167 hours, and thank you for listening.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.